You've decided not to stay in wealth management or the corporate world. What was this new opportunity?
Well, it was something completely different and as far removed from wealth management or banking, anything that I did in the past. It was fast food, actually.
Okay.
I met some people from Taiwan. Realized like, hey, they were, of the same spirit or goals in terms of starting a business. Except they were they're Taiwanese and they were doing it in Taiwan. But I just thought that their concept and the food that was presented, that was being sold, I just thought it was so unique and perfectly fit for the U.S. market. Mind you, okay, just this is all in the context of 2019, right? Pre-pandemic, and
so basically, you're sort of like finger licking food.
Yes, finger licking food, like as Taiwanese style fried chicken, and I just thought it was so perfect for the U.S. market because at the time, a lot of independent food, I would say brands or labels, ventures were being launched, and I think overall people's taste buds and I think their scope of what was acceptable, right? Their taste buds, it was widening at that point, and the market just everything that looked just said that this would be very welcomed. So I decided to made a proposal to these partners, and I said, let me take your fast food brand and let's try to do something in the US with it.
And I heard you were very successful. I saw some clips.
For a short while before the pandemic started, we launched our first kind of pop-up in January of 2020. And everything about it, like the people who came, the feedback, it was really good. And I used the next couple events, pop-up events, to just kind of get the staff trained a little bit. My small team, trained a little bit better, smoother operations, and it just felt like right when we really hit the sweet spot. That was like March 13th, okay, Friday the 13th actually of 2020, okay, and that weekend everything shut down because of the pandemic. If it was launched full time or with sustained presence, that it would have been very, very, very successful.
Why did you decide to move to Taipei then?
At the time, I was hoping that I could kind of keep this venture going, right, by my continued partnership and working with these partners in Taiwan. That was my hope. And then thinking that, okay, well, let's give it a year. Hopefully enough people are following the pandemic measures to try to bring this down, and we can control this. And then we can look at reopening again, reopening in the US like after a year. So I decided to come out here to Taiwan, where I can at least continue to be productive and to work and to maybe hone the craft somewhat, during the work in here and in the kitchens and the food, etc. So that's why I came here. Well, maybe some of your viewers already know, but Taiwan has very strict pandemic measures, and they've controlled, the local transmissions down to, basically single digits. Zero cases for a long while. So I was like, at least it's a very relatively very safe place to work and try to still have a normal life. Before I did come back here, there was frequent travels between 2018 in 2020 between Boston and Taiwan.
Yeah.
So I wasn't completely, unequipped, so to speak. I've also lived in Korea. I think we mentioned that earlier. So living abroad, this is not my first rodeo, so to speak, and you learn over the years to be more more accepting, more flexible, more open of the differences, right? I think every country, every society has their pros and cons. Some more than others, right? So you have to learn.
When I grew up, there were so many kind of teenage idols. So this is probably like revealing my age, but I watched quite a lot of Channel V. So mostly they were singers who were American-born Chinese, or a bit like yourself, who's kind of followed the family when they were babies to America. So people like Wu Dawei, who's a VJ at the time, what we call them. And then there was a boy band called LA Boys, and also Wang Lihong, who's not so popular right now. So do you see that kind of preferential treatment giving you that advantage when you went?
I'm sure that maybe in certain if I were to pursue certain career paths out here, that might confer some sort of advantage for me, particularly in areas where maybe speaking English or having familiarity with Western culture, communications that might be of advantage. However, in the fast food sector, no, not quite. Just because of the market size, there are so many great chefs out here. And I don't mean just chefs by title, but also the moms and grandmas, who have their have their little corner stall, okay, and like a line around the block during lunchtime. I'm not gonna beat out these people, right? And even if I am going to beat them out, I mean, still there's going to be other people who are just as good, right? So it's a small market, very condensed, very saturated, and it's, I would say the competition level here in Taiwan for especially in food, it's incredibly high, and the profit margins are incredibly low.
If someone decided that they have enough understanding of Asian markets, if they have some understanding of the Chinese language, would they face the similar kind of hurdles?
One of the things that I realized as an American, sometimes when you take English and you do a direct translation into Chinese, you have like direct question you want to just ask straight out, or you have a direct response to them, that they find it to be very jarring, too straightforward, and they find that, and people can misconstrue that as being maybe rude. I gotta completely think in as a Taiwanese person.
Yes.
Right. And then after you ask the question, after you successfully maneuver through that conversation, you can take a deep breath afterwards and be like, and scene. Although Taiwan is very safe and people, but I think it has still affected businesses, big and small, in terms of their revenue stream, and I think during the lean times that we were working through, that we would talk about, hey, I would put out an idea about, hey, can we do something different, or how about instead of putting money in this area to maybe invest in this area here instead. And the responses I got, I mean, this is just them, not indicative of all Taiwanese people, but the response I got was maybe that might work in the US. And this is Taiwan. I was like, yes, yeah, this is Taiwan. TIT, tit, right? Yeah, tit. You know, so and so every time they do this, they're like, oh, well, it might work in the US, and I would say like, okay, well, yes, it might work in the US. That's true, but have you tried it here in Taiwan? Maybe it would work, right? You don't know. If you keep doing the same thing, right, and you keep getting the same results, and you want something different, well, don't you want to try something new to try to get that different result? Good or bad, right? But at least you learn from it, you know. But it's always like, well, you know, no, that's not how we do it here. That's not how we do it here. No. I'm like, okay, all right, Tit. And I'm like,
if you have to give your 2019 self a piece of advice about changing jobs and moving countries, what would you say?
What would I say? That's a great question. I would tell myself to, one, expect anything. 2020 has taught us all that. Okay, anything can happen, right? So as a result of that, you know, be flexible. Okay, do try to be open and accepting of, you know, different ideas or and then in terms of moving. And I would say for this, I mean, in my sense of coming here for a business venture, I would say, hey, you know, like really try to learn your market, learn about the people that you're working with, learn about the people that you're serving, and see if that is what you had initially thought it was going to be. It really didn't cover a lot of things for me in terms of, you know, the dynamics with my business partners, you know, that it opened up opportunities where I could actually see very closely now, like, what are people like when things aren't going well, right? And
really
that is
to the test.
I know. I feel like I'm giving a dating advice.
Transferable skills. Yeah.
Right. I feel like I'm giving dating advice, right? Because you know, you're talking about, you know, whether it's business partner or whatever, you know, partner in life, right? Fun, you know, marriage, right? It's like you kind of want to see what people are like during the worst of times, right? Or during stressful times.
Yeah.
And this was definitely a very stressful time, you know, and be honest, just be really honest. I mean, if you can't be honest to these people or to others around you, at least be honest to yourself, right? You know, just be brutally honest, whether the problem is stemming from yourself, like not being able to acclimate, or whether the problem is the environment or people or whatever it might be, but be very honest. I think that's really important. You know, to give you an example, you know, after that partnership kind of, you know, that venture dissolved, I was still in Taiwan. I was kind of like going around seeing like, well, you know, what is out here, right? So I just went out, talked to as many people as possible. You go and you do some digging and see, hey, is that something, you know, you want to do? I think I came very close again last year March or April. Okay. I was thinking like, hey, well, you know, is there another business I can launch here in Taiwan, right? That might work well, you know, maybe instead of doing a franchise, bring a Taiwan, you know, venture to try to franchise in the US, maybe I should do the opposite, right? You know, so I was thinking about that too. But then, you know, and then of course pandemic, we had an outbreak here for 3 months, and that kind of, you know, put a lid on things again. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, just, you know, Han, just, you know, I think that's you know, the, you know, just basically the world saying, take your time. Okay, don't rush. Okay, like I'm very excited, okay, to get something started or off the ground again or do something new. But this is just telling me, like, take your time, like learn, you know, and just keep your eyes open.
That's great. Can you describe a bit about your daily life now?
I'm working on my Chinese. I'm taking classes. I'm, you know, a student of the Chinese language right now. So, and I set myself a goal to get it up to a professional level. Okay, so that if I were to go work in a Taiwanese company, that's the documents, everything in front of me I can understand, and I can communicate clearly, not like some American doing a Google Translate in his head, So there's that, and so I work on that probably like maybe 2-3 hours at least a day. On the Chinese part of it. Other than that, go out. I just, I might pick out like a certain business or like a new exhibition or new something going on, and I will try to find it and go attend and just see what are people working on out here.
Have you celebrated Chinese New Year?
Well, I have, yeah. Just eating. It's basically like
eating.
It's basically like if you think American Thanksgiving, and then you just extend that out by how many days, depending on how big your family, how many relatives and how many friends you have. Okay, because there's a day for everything, right? I mean, I think this year I ate, feasted for like I think 4 days straight.
好了，没有了，
没有啊 ，OK。
When I was a kid, I went to Taipei a lot, pretty much every year, and also during Chinese New Year. So I remember just like fireworks, the 鞭炮, every single night. And I told my mom, I said, Han's in Taipei. And then she told me that she remembered carrying me, and there was this 鞭炮 just kind of exploded next to her and burned her hair. And she said, do you remember that? And I said, no, I was 2.
People will just light them off randomly during various times of the day.
Can you teach us some Taiwanese lingo Or do I have to do
Taiwanese
the
link.
Oh, do I have to do the cute Taiwanese girl intro? Right.
You don't have to.
Okay, don't laugh.
Okay.
Stop laughing. 大家好，欢迎来到李承翰汉哥哥教室。今天我们很荣幸请来了来自美国的大帅哥李承翰，掌声鼓励！好棒，好棒！ Oh, I'm really not cut out for this. 那美国人说台语会是怎么样的呢？汉哥哥，你可以教我们一些台湾潮语吗？ Okay. It's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of. You did really good. Okay, so no swear words. Okay, here we go. Here's a phrase in Taiwanese. My Taiwanese is really bad, but I'm gonna try. 贵港诶，贵港诶，
贵港诶，
贵港诶，贵港诶。
贵港诶 What does that mean?
It's just like unending or unceasing rain, right? It's just nonstop rain, right? And Taiwan is very it's very it's subtropical. So there's a lot of like right now during the winter time it's just a lot of rain. But then this expression people will use, like for instance, like if life just throws a lot of crap your way one after the other, like for instance, like maybe you're complaining to your friend, right? You're saying like, oh, I got up this morning, I was gonna drive to work, the car, like it wouldn't start, and then when I got to work, I accidentally slipped and I stepped into a big puddle and my new shoes got ruined, and blah blah blah, and then somebody would be like, 贵港诶. There's some other ones, like for instance, we use a chat app, like the most prevalent chatting app out here is Line, right? It's Japanese companies are the Line, but people just be like, 赖我, okay, and I'm like.
Well, without the viewers thinking that we've been going on and just laughing too much, 贵港诶, that's enough for them. Thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with your venture. Hopefully we'll meet somewhere in the middle instead of keep crossing the world. And
yes.
I will come
definitely.
for your next food venture.
Thank you. Great talking. Thank you very much.
贵港诶